With the launch of the iPhone 17, the last year's iPhone 16, along with the price drop, is honestly starting to make more sense now. I've been using this thing for the past several months as my main phone, so here's the good, bad and ugly divided into 8 sections along with whatever has changed in the new iPhone. Okay, the weirdest thing in the iPhone 16 is the design. It is great, but it is also annoying, and since iPhone 17 carries forward a lot from here, you're pretty much going to experience the same thing. It's great because of the obvious things, frosted glass, action button, up to some extent the camera control, but you see, this exact thing is also the problem. It is very difficult to mount the phone on a tripod clamp. This is the only valid area for mounting, so the phone sticks out quite a bit and often tampers with the balance. Talking about durability, I have actually dropped this phone a number of times, and I can say the ceramic glass in the front holds up very well, although there's actually a cheap screen protector applied. The back has color infused glass and that looks really beautiful. It is also pretty durable and the phone still pretty much looks good as new. And honestly, if you're not a content creator, you won't have much problem with the design anyway. The iPhone 17, like I mentioned, follows the same design principle, but it is very slightly larger and heavier this year. Also, the bezels seem to be more trimmed, housing a larger 6.3-inch display. Also, the colors are not very colorful this year, unlike the iPhone 16, except for maybe the sage color, which is probably the most unique one. The display is great. I have no complaints regarding color, contrast and sharpness. A few non-essentials mostly are lacking, like the 120Hz ProMotion display and no always on display, but the iPhone 17 brings that upgrade finally with the 120Hz refresh rate, which is even adaptive. The display is also more durable with the new ceramic glass too, which gives 3 times better scratch resistance. The 3000 nits brighter screen with the 7-layer anti-reflective coating will make the 17 very visible outdoors, but the 16 is already very visible. Okay, so I've been using the iPhone 16 since Feb 2025, which is 7 months from now. Initially, I thought the 3561 mAh battery in this thing would surrender very quick, but I was wrong. This thing can easily last more than a day for light usage. Camera, especially videography, can take quite a toll on the battery. If you're traveling to a remote location, you need a chunky power bank. There is MagSafe wireless charging, but I tried avoiding it since I heard wireless charging generates a lot of heat. But even with wired charging using Apple's adapter, the phone heats up quite a lot. It does not have the fastest charging speed on the planet, sitting at just 20 watts, especially compared to many Chinese smartphones which have larger battery, 90-watt fast charging, and still does not heat up as much as the iPhone. So in the battery part, I would say the iPhone 16 is lagging behind almost every competition. Now in long-term reviews, I know that battery health is a very important topic, but I can't comment on that right now since this phone has just 164 cycles, so the health is still sitting at 100%. These newer iPhones from the iPhone 15 and later have better batteries which can last longer, but still needs more testing. The iPhone 17, however, comes with some important upgrades here. There's the new 35-watt fast charging support, and the battery is also a bit larger, so there is a notable jump in convenience on that line. Performance-wise, the iPhone 16 is solid. Day-to-day tasks never show a single frame of jitter. No bugs, nothing. And that is with the storage close to 100% almost all the time. I think this phone is not for heavy gamers. I've only played Asphalt Legends Unite, which I think is a light to mid-weight game. It runs smooth, but it also heats up the phone a lot. The battery drain also quickens, and sometimes it does not even notify when it drops below 20%. It just switches off after hitting the lower cut when you're playing, which is very bad for the battery life. The iPhone 17 is bringing in the A19 chip, so there will be subtle improvements in the performance, and the fact that it is based on the newer 3nm process, you can expect a bit of lesser heating. Now, I think I should also bring up iOS. It is a very optimized piece of software, but I feel like it is quite inconsistent sometimes. I'll show you a small example. Here is the notification center on the HyperOS. When you swipe it down slightly, it shows, but you can't do the same on the iPhone. Now, yes, I know you're just going to comment, 2 of these are completely different system software and you can't expect them to be similar. I agree, but how do you explain this? Just opposite to the notification center, you can very easily access the action center. But if you do the same, it does not work here. I need to pull it down completely for it to work. There are many such little things in the iOS that I feel like were intentionally complicated. I don't know why. Another problem is I cannot sideload an app on iOS and just forget. I use a finance manager that I develop myself. It helps me track all expenses, generate report all taxes, so it is a very important app for me. And just to use that app, I actually tried installing it initially on the iPhone. It worked for a few days and then it stopped working. And I need to have a separate Android phone just for that. Pretty inconvenient. inconvenient. But there are good things too, like the Apple ecosystem. I guess everyone knows about that. The iPhone 17 is coming in with the iOS 26, bringing the controversial liquid glass upgrade along with the full suite of the Apple Intelligence features. And talking about AI, I think they were quite dumb on the iPhone 16. I have never used most of them till date after the initial days. Stuff like image generation, Genmoji used to take a lot of time. They also used to heat up the phone. Nowadays, they are quite more optimized, but I still don't understand how they can be very useful. Text-related AI is quite useful though, especially for rewriting, summarizing and all, even when there's no internet, because the entire thing happens on device. Siri is also pretty bad. It's nothing compared to Gemini, the modern day Google Assistant, and I just activated Siri. Anyway, the camera, however, is great. It takes really good photos and videos. They are smooth, consistent across the different lenses. There are two things that sting me, quite frankly, especially because of the price. One, the night performance is not particularly consistent. It is not bad. I think it performs great under low light, often much better than competition like Xiaomi 15. But since Apple does not use much AI, I guess because of that, extreme low light images fall apart, which is okay because using AI in photography is a very controversial thing, and I think it's a clever part for Apple to stay away from that. And secondly, the lack of a telelens. But I think the extra bit of cash Apple saves by not giving the telelens is exactly what they use for optimizing the other two cameras. The skin tones are spot on. The colors look natural. Videos shot look very cinematic. I don't think there is any Android phone on the planet to shoot videos like the iPhone. It's really beautiful. What I can recommend you is to buy one of those Moment or Sandmark lenses if you really need tele, especially if you don't want to commit to a pro model. The ultra-wide camera on the iPhone 17 gets a massive upgrade from the 12 MP to 48 MP, increasing the resolution of the photos taken. The front also gets a higher resolution camera of 18 MP. It now has a square sensor, so it brings in new framing possibilities between portraits and landscapes without compromising resolution, along with much better video stabilization. Apple is calling this the center stage front camera. And last, the signal reception, which is very good on the iPhone 16. It depends on other factors too, I know, but in my experience, I have had signal in some of the most remote locations I've ever visited. The call quality is also great. I have no complaints regarding those. 5G is super fast on the iPhone, even while traveling on the train, where I have had a lot of signal issues in the past, so it is a really good experience. In terms of connectivity, the iPhone 17 introduces N1, a new Apple-designed wireless networking chip that enables Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6 and Thread, and hence also improving the performance and reliability of features like personal hotspot and AirDrop. That brings us to the end of the video. Do let me know if you are getting the iPhone 16 or 17 this year, or if you're looking forward to get any other model. Do like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.